Hello, how are you? Amanda, Seint Artist. We're going to do our makeup, and today I'm going to focus on matte control. A lot of people like that nice matte finish. I'm going to show you how to get the matte finish without creating a chalky look. There is a method to the madness. I'm going to be showing 3 different kinds of setting powders because that's really what it comes down to. The first one is going to be obviously my vanilla dust. I love it. It's well pressed. It's fine. It doesn't create texture. Anything can when done wrong. But anything can't when done right. So I'm going to show different ones, but I like vanilla dust, well pressed again, very, very fine, and it fits in your palette. The other 2 I'm going to talk about is Urban Decay All Nighter Pressed Waterproof Powder. This one is a really good one. And then there's obviously Coty Airspun. This is a loose powder, and I will say this, I like it, but it will create texture even if you don't have any. It's a loose powder. And when you're messing with a loose powder, you tend to pick up too much. And when you're using powder with any consistent cream, liquid, whatever, it's gonna change the consistency and you can easily crepe an area, especially your under eyes. And that's where I'm gonna stop. So I'm gonna use 2 brushes today. I'm gonna be using my detail brush, and then I'm also gonna be using my powder brush. I love this end right here for powder. And then I've also got my poof. You can get a pack, I think, of 12 of these for less than $10 on Amazon. I've spent the $15 on this thing, and while it's neat and fun to watch people use, I don't like it. But I do like these, and they're affordable. I don't get paid if you get them, so whatever. Get it, don't get it, I don't care. So I'm gonna get started on my makeup. I've already done my color correcting because not everybody wants to see that. I'm gonna go in with my detail brush on my main highlight first. I prefer doing my main highlight first just because I have problematic skin. And when I say problematic, I get hormonal breakouts, but I also get scarring. When I was in my 20s, teens, 20s, I had really bad acne. And it was probably because I didn't take very good care of my skin because I was young and stupid and I didn't take care of my skin. So now I have scarring. So I always do my main highlight first just to even out the skin tone and cover up those imperfections. So I just bring it up on my apples and then blendy, blendy, blend. Tapping in, I am using amber as my main highlight. I have maturing skin, so I always pick a color that's probably about a half a shade darker, and it works really well. Anything too light can accentuate a texture like pores. So you don't want something that is a little too light or maybe right on. You want something, if you have maturing skin, your pores get bigger, your fine lines get deeper. You want something, I would say a half a shade. And that's why I like getting a custom color match. So if you're liking what you're seeing so far, just send me a makeup free picture so I can see all your skin tones. I want to see your natural tone, your undertone, your shadow tones. I want to see discoloration. I want to see your pores. I want to see all your stuff. And I will custom match you, and we'll make a palette that's specific to you. This is my palette, not your palette. Get that out of the way. I am going to contour next. I've been liking olive because it's not summer yet. And then I go up to indigo, which is my ride or die favorite. And so I just tap in. I never wipe through, and I am going to, it is a day with family today. And so I'm going to go a little heavier because I might be in a picture instead of taking a picture. Who knows? I don't know. We're dyeing eggs for Easter today. So I'm monochromatic. I'm wearing black jeans and a gray shirt so that dye can hit it. We've got, I think, 4 different kits for dyeing eggs today. And they seem messy. So it'll be fun. Everything's fun when it's messy, unless you're cleaning. All right, we're going to tap right here. We're going to make a mess on the face. We're going to make a mess on the face. I'm tapping this into my cheekbone. I kind of like going thicker and heavier here, and I underblend it. I like the way that looks. Put your makeup on the way you like your face to look. It's kind of the name of the game. All right, I'm going to use my fingers, my 2 ring fingers, and I'm going to come down my nose. Down either side, just like that. And then I'm going to hit the tip. I love when I have a well contoured nose. All right, I'm going to blend my jawline, but I'm going to do this. I've been really liking using, it's not a bronzer, but I'm using it as a bronzer, and I've been loving it. It's a highlight color. It is our darkest highlight color, Muse, and it's so pretty as a bronzer. It's just like Bella, but cool. Not like hip to the jive. It's cool, like not warm. All right, so I'm blending this out, otherwise I'll forget. And that is that. I'm gonna go into Muse. So here it is, it's right here, very similar to Bella, but it's cool toned. So I'm gonna pop that right up there. Look at that, so pretty. I always stack it. I have my contour line, then I have my bronzer line, and I always go right here. We're gonna underblend this also. We're gonna work it all together because it's more fun that way. I'm gonna go to the small end and I'm gonna grab my brightening highlight, which is for Sai. And I always go right here in the middle, and I won't do my nose until I blend my contour, because if you've watched a few, I have a new way of doing my nose that I love. And since I have people coming over and I might be, again, in front of the camera rather than behind the camera, I want it to look nice today. So I just always hit my chin. You want that reflected light. That's all this brightening is right here. And right here is you are applying a foundational coverage of essentially concealer that is mimicking reflected light. All right, I'm going to take the big end and I am going to tap out my bronzer, tap it out, and you should be able to see the difference between my contour here. I've got my bronzer here. I could probably use, I should do that. I am going to use Muse as a contour one day, because why not? It's really beautiful, and for those people who like a minimal palette, it's a good idea. So I'm just blending this out until I'm happy. And that's why I kind of go too dark, so I can blend it down till I'm happy. And I mean, when are we ever really happy with how our makeup looks? We're our own worst critics, right? I'm gonna come right over here and I'm tapping into my bronzer first, and I bring it down to my cheeks. That's why I'm smiling. And then I go into my contour like that. It's nice. And then I'll do my blush, and then it'll all come together when I do my under eyes, which is nice. All right, look at that, it's good. All right, tapping on my nose. On the side, I'm gonna push this up towards my brows. Tappy, tappy, tap, push this up into my brows, square it off. So I've blended this all down, and then I'm gonna bridge it together. Just right here, I really don't worry about the tip. I'm gonna tappy, tappy, tap. I'm gonna use the small one. I'm gonna pinch it. I'm gonna grab some Versailles, and I'm gonna go right down the middle, and then I go like this on my tip. I've been preferring this. I don't know why, whatever's left, I'm just gonna kind of put between my brows here to blend into that forehead brightening. Pull, pull, pull down the bridge. Wipey, wipey, wipe. And there we go. That's my schnoz. Ta-da! I am gonna switch to the fluffy brush really quick to grab this Muse, and I'm gonna do my neck. I'm gonna push this up here. I get it right into that shadow area, and then I'm gonna pull it down. And this is just gonna help because my neck is always, always lighter than my face, always. So that's why I do it this way. Okay, this is all gonna work out. It all works out in the end. Trust the process. Whenever I get into a hairy situation about halfway through, I say, trust the process. And then it all works out. Okay, let's do blush. I'm gonna go to my second layer, which is my blush right here. These are all the new releases. They're so pretty, and it's Easter. So I am going to use Pink Lemonade. No, I wanna use Renaissance. We're gonna use Renaissance, feeling a little whatever. I am going to use Frenchie with it because, again, I have problematic skin, and these deep tones, bright tones, it's really, really hard to make them not pull it through. So I'm gonna pop this on right here, putting Frenchie right here, and then Frenchie right here. And this just helps cover and keep my scarring from pulling through. And then I'm gonna go into Renaissance, which is, look at how pretty that is. It's like a Merlot. It's so gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, we're gonna pop this right up here. I think I'll use Pink Lemonade as my lipstick today. I always apply it with my finger. I know I said I was gonna use toothbrush. Let's try the powder. Let's try this end of the powder brush, because why not? All right, I'm gonna go into that Renaissance first. I'm gonna smile so I can see where my apples are, and then I'm gonna go into that Frenchie, and I'm gonna take care of that. And they just merge together really, really nice. I like getting a little out of hand up high because I haven't done my under eyes. And then I can control it down and have the perfect shaped cheek. That's it's kind of like over contouring my nose and then putting in the brightening. I over blush my cheeks and then I use my brightening again to just rein it back. This is pretty. Fluffy brush. I just can't not use it. This is my favorite brush only because of the fluffy end. I rarely ever actually directly apply color to it except for my neck, but oh, so good. All right, let's do the under eyes and then I'm going to talk to you about this matte control. Yeah. I probably could have done matte control at the end, but what's the fun in that? So I'm going to use the small end of the detail brush. I'm going into Versailles, and then I'm going to get this under eye. I like to tap a very light amount on, and then I bring it up onto the inner corner. I don't apply powders, shimmers to this area. I think it gets gunky. And so I don't. And everybody's been asking me, what do you use on your inner corner? I just use a cream brightener, Versailles, or whatever your brightener is, and just push that up and in. And it's perfect. I don't apply my eyeshadow to that inner corner so it doesn't get compromised. So I'm just gonna pop this onto my orbital and then I push it up. You want very little product directly under your eye on that soft tissue. It's key to having that matte finish, is having that tiny bit. It can say translucent, I don't care. If it says translucent, that's fine. That's fine. It can still create a texture and it can still help with coverage. It's just the way that it is. I just don't think there's no such thing as translucent. That just to me means light. That's my opinion. Whatever. I mean, if it's translucent, I just, whatever. Okay, don't get me started. All right, going in on that small end. I always start under the trough and I work up. And then I pull it down. And I live on this orbital bone and I just put as little as possible on my brush. And then I tappy, 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 tap, bring it up really lightly. If you're gonna do swirling or wiping, you want the very lightest amount of touch, just the tips of the bristles. If you find that you see your under eye is moving a lot, you're pressing too hard and you're maturing your under eyes. All right, I've reined it in. Have I? There we go, tappy, tappy, tap, and I just use this brush to blendy, blend. Okay, so we have the under eyes. Let's do our lips because nothing's ever finished without the lips being done. I'm gonna go right here with my contour olive. I've seen people do this in their blending process where they put all the colors on their face, including their lips. And I think you have to put too much on to really get this look when you could do it in this order and use less product. It's also an area where you can really clog a pore and it's not in a place you want to. So just do a little bit. I'm gonna give myself a little outer lining with it out up here. And then I always hit right in the middle just to accentuate that piece. I'm gonna use cotton candy today. I'm gonna tap into cotton candy and I'm gonna hit here and here. And all that's doing is accentuating this really pretty area. So by contouring after, it doesn't blend into my main highlight and I think it makes it look less messy. I'm gonna grab that cotton candy and I'm just going to accentuate or greater than less than and create a pout. I like more of a pout than looking like I just have big fat weird looking lips. That's how I think mine look when I do it that way, where I just take my contour and I just clown it around. I just think, I mean, you can make a mess and clean a mess, but why make it more messy than it needs to be, right? I've seen people do it and I'm just like, but why? I get it. It's fun to watch, but it's not necessary. Anyway, all right. I am going to line my lips with, what do I want to do? Let's do Renaissance again because I'm crazy. All right, I'm going to use the multitasker brush. I'm going to use the big end and I'm going to line. Renaissance reminds me of MAC Half Red, and I use that a lot. I have two, one here in my gym bag. It's good. So I'm gonna line, hit that inner corner. I hate talking and I hate lining my lips on camera. I hate it. Least favorite part, honestly. Okay. getting that outline. I don't go outside of my lip line. On my lips, you can just really tell, and I can tell on other people too, and then I'm just staring at it. Okay. I'm gonna take Maui. It's so pretty. If you want a really good shade of the season, I'm gonna tell you, this one, I feel like it won't be topped. I mean, I've played with Hopelessly Devoted, which I do like to top. It adds a little bit of frostiness. I just think Maui is gonna be good on every skin tone, light, dark. It's so pretty. And it goes well with all these different lip colors, all of them. All of them. You could even use it as an illuminator. I prefer more of a gloss illuminator. I like Summer Love as an illuminator. It's really pretty. Ooh, let's add, let's do a little pop color. We're gonna grab a little cotton candy and I'm gonna hit right here. We're just gonna tap that out. I'm just going to, before we do the matte, again, I probably could have come to you with my makeup already on, but whatever. Okay, you're wanting a matte finish. The first thing that you need to do is set your face with your setting spray. Is it first or second? I'm gonna go with second. Okay, you can do both, but we're talking about matte finish and it's probably, I'm gonna show you why. Okay, I'm gonna use my powder brush and I'm gonna go into my vanilla dust. If you've seen me, I always start out here. This is where I like to start and then I pull it in. And you have all the control. So if you want one of those matte finish makeups, you don't have as much control over how matte it is. And so I always start on the perimeter of my face, the temple, and then I pull it down my orbital bone, and then I work up. And it can be nice and matte. Instead of this dewy finish, you have this nice matte finish. I recommend keeping one of these in your purse if you have oily skin. If you have dry skin, you may not even need to do this because your skin just sucks in the hydration of a cream makeup and it's just, this is bugging me, and it's good. It looks matte. And so you may actually need just, I like using Seint setting spray for dry skin, but you're gonna wanna press it in with a brush like this or with one of those little poofs. But you can control how matte it is, but use very little to start. You can always build, but you cannot, once you start doing this matte finish, it is very hard to take it away. Okay, we're gonna start out here and we're gonna work our way down and in. I will not ever apply powder from here to this area here. This is a high texture area because you smile and you talk a lot in this area. And so you're gonna wanna bring it down and in and around the nose last. Okay, this looks nice, right? It does mute down your blush. And so if you're going to do a matte finish, be a little more punchy with your blush. You can see it's down. So I will likely be adding more later today. So anytime you're doing a matte finish, adding any kind of powder, it's going to mute it down. So you want that blush to be more punchy. If you are using a loose powder, here is my trick. I'm going to show this side with these two off Seint brand powders. I'm going to use a poof. And I'm going to put it on my finger here. And I'm going to go into my setting powder right here. And I'm going to do it the exact same way where I bring it up and over. Now, if you want to bake under your eyes, by all means, do it carefully. And I say take a setting powder first, press that in. Sorry, a big bird just flew by my window. Okay, they distract me almost every video, but you're going to mat this out, push it down on your orbital bone, and then bring it up. Same thing here. And if you want to bake, you're going to let this sit for just a hot minute. You're going to let this sit. You're going to let this absorb all the things it wants to absorb before you bake. All right, before you bake, that's what you're gonna wanna do. Now, if you look, you can see I have a little more color on this side than this side, and I think it's because I used a puff over a brush. So that is up to you. The color is both, they're both translucent. So they're very light, there's no pigment to them. They're just, this looks like there's pigment, it is translucent, which, whatever. All right, so I've let this sit for a minute. I've yammered on for, you don't need to sit and let this bake, but it is doing, it's like a pre-bake. We're greasing the pan here. And so we're gonna take this powder. I am not a fan of baking. I'm completely ruining my makeup by doing this. So you're gonna put loose powder on, and if you're going to bake, you're going to bake now, and that is going down, and you're gonna really press that in. Now, if you're doing that, I like using a puff over a brush because you're gonna press that in and you're gonna let this bake. I say press this in, don't loosely put it on, but it will easily accentuate. If you are using a pressed powder, I don't care how you do it. You can pre-bake it, you can bake it directly, but if you put a loose powder on your face, you are going to accentuate your pores and your fine lines. I don't care. I don't care if you think I'm wrong. I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm not saying it looks bad, but I will say I do think staying away from loose powder makes it look better. You get the same result. I just think it looks a little better. You're gonna take a brush, whatever brush you want after it's sat there for a little bit, and then you're gonna just fluff this off. You can use a fluffy brush, you can use whatever brush, I don't care. I don't care, fluffy brush, whatever. And you're gonna take off that excess, and I'm gonna take whatever my brush wipes off, and I'm gonna put it everywhere else. And you're going to get that nice matte finish, but it is going to accentuate your fine lines, and it is going to make it harder for you to reset your under eyes. And you'll touch it, and you're gonna feel it. And I will say, because you can't feel my face, this side feels different than this side. This side feels hydrated, it feels moisturized, this side feels dry. And that's the difference. But I like that when you're using a cream makeup, I've got stuff and I'm dusting my desk with my brush. But I will say when you're using a cream makeup, you have so much more control over the matte finish you have. I am gonna add more blush afterwards, and I do recommend if you're doing that to do a satin finish. And I'm gonna go into my Renaissance, and I'm just gonna add my color on top. And because I'm using a satin finish, it's not going to look all dewy. And I'll show you. See, no dewy finish. It's still nice and matte, just like that, not dewy. I like a good natural dew. If you're using a pressed powder, you're not going to get a natural dew. You're not. And if that's your goal, is to have that super matte finish, great. You can achieve that with a pressed powder. I would recommend a pressed powder over loose powder any day. Any day. All right, take a setting spray. I'm using D-Slick because I'm oily. We're gonna spray your face until it's good and hydrated, wet even. But take a fluffy brush, let's stick with the powder brush. And I'm gonna press in to those areas where I get oily, which is my cheeks, it is my forehead, and around my nose. And I'm just pressing that setting spray in. And I will say by doing the setting spray after you've done the bake, it does help with that texture. I'm gonna take this little brush and I'm just pressing under my eyes. And I think it helps with not being so crepey. But that's my recommendation on matte control. Use a pressed powder. Any one of them will work. Seint I like because it fits in and it's a good quality pressed powder. But if you're wanting a second recommendation, Urban Decay All Nighter is good. And just honestly, like my only recommendation is be flippin' careful. You could easily get out of hand, but use a puff. They are nice if you're wanting it more matte. I will say this, if you want it super matte, get a puff. If you want it moderately matte with that natural dew, use a brush. That's it. Matte control is 100% in your hands when it comes to using a cream makeup. A cream makeup will leave a dew. It could be with Seint, it could be with Fenty, it can be with Merit, it can be with, I don't know the other ones, but the other ones, they will leave a dewy finish. That's why creams are becoming so popular. But get these. They're so good if you're wanting that matte finish. I just think pressed powders are the enemy of our under eyes. They are the enemy. So, okay, but I will say this, because I've gone so matte today, every texture on my face is screaming at me, especially right in this area right here. It's bothering the schnit out of me, but for you guys, I did it. I'm just gonna, this is what I do to try to help it, but I'm not a big fan of matte finish. I will say this, I know this is long. If you're a Bare Minerals girl, you're gonna wanna watch this video because this is how you're gonna make a cream makeup be what you're used to. Because it's so hard to go to a powder foundation to a cream foundation. And I always have such a hard time talking to girls who have been with the Bare Minerals and they're like, it just doesn't look the same, it looks greasy. Well, yeah, it's not a powder, so it's gonna look different. But if you're wanting to transition, get yourself the vanilla dust. Do what I do, get 2, keep it in here. You know what, get 3. Because you're gonna use the hell out of it. Keep 2 in this palette when you're doing your initial face and keep 1 extra one with a puff in your purse. If you are a Bare Minerals girl, that is but slowly work yourself away from those setting powders because it's just better on this side. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say that. I just think it's better on this side. That nice natural dew is gonna keep you looking younger, I promise. Okay, that's it. I'm sorry this was so long. 25 minutes is long these days, so have a great day.